Yeah, Batman's a master at being hide-and-seek champion, but that doesn't mean he can't deliver a bone-crunching beatdown to anyone that threatens Gotham City. He's supposed to be in peak physical condition, so it's not surprising that the actors who have played him in recent years have looked like they've been made out of pure steel. Today's video is all about discussing how each Caped Crusader actor got positively ripped for the role, along with a few other characters whose workouts might surprise you. So grab that protein shake and let's get into it right now. George Clooney holds the unfortunate distinction of playing Bruce Wayne in what is easily the worst Batman movie ever made, with an overabundance of things like bat nipples, bat credit cards, and groan-inducing puns from Mr. Freeze. It's not a movie that's remembered very fondly, which is a shame, because George Clooney spent a lot of time getting into superhero shape for the role, but not in the way you'd expect. You would think a superhero workout includes a lot of intense weightlifting and fighting, but Clooney's workouts have always been a little different. It's been a mixture of Bikram yoga, which for all of you non-yoga experts out there means doing funny stretches while sweating profusely in a super hot room, as well as things like aerobics, dancing, and jazzercise. That's right. So if you were a bad guy in George Clooney's Batman movie and you got beat up, just know that it was by a guy who mastered the art of jazzercise. He gave him the old razzle-dazzle. Although Clooney never got the chance to play Batman again, we would have liked to see him return for at least one more movie to see how his workout routine would have evolved over time. If we were qualified to give out fancy awards and titles, we'd make Christian Bale the king of transformative performances. And we mean that quite literally. The dude isn't afraid to go to some extreme lengths to morph his body for a role. We all know he got super buff to play Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins, but the transformation is even more amazing considering what he looked like in the movie he did previously. The Machinist, released in 2004, saw Christian Bale's character suffering from insomnia and slowly losing his mind. If you've seen the movie, you know just how skinny he got. To make that movie, Bale dropped from 173 to 110 pounds, which is just insane. He could have played a real-life Scarecrow. And then of course, Batman Begins was starting soon, and he had to suddenly bulk back up again or else risk losing the part. With only a short amount of time, he underwent a heavy protein diet with a focus on heavy core, plyometrics, and resistance training. He packed on more than 100 pounds. The truly crazy thing is director Christopher Nolan actually thought he gained too much muscle for the role and asked him to lose 20 pounds after he bulked up. Talk about commitment. The Batman introduced in the DCEU was a different type of Caped Crusader than what we saw earlier. The character was intended to be a bulky street brawler, and looking at Ben Affleck in the role, it's pretty clear that they nailed the look. They ultimately wanted someone who looked like they could actually pose a challenge to the beefy Henry Cavill, and we think Ben Affleck certainly had the look to go toe-to-toe with the Man of Steel. For one, Affleck is 6'4", compared to Cavill's 6'1", so he already looked bigger. But Affleck has always been relatively bulky, and the Batman role gave him even more of a chance to pack on serious muscle. Again, the main goal when Affleck was cast was to make Batman look like a huge MMA fighter. Before Batman vs. Superman, he was already pretty big from work on his last movie, The Town, where he weighed about 198 pounds. He underwent a high-protein diet with heavy resistance training to bulk up to 231 pounds at 7.7% body fat. Jeez, what kind of protein was he eating? Was he just gobbling up full chickens and cows at that point? All this was accomplished while being in his 40s, which truly deserves proper recognition. Robert Pattinson looked over all the previous Batman's intense physical training regimens in order to play the character and decided, heck no! There are other ways to get in shape besides almost killing yourself to bulk up to extraordinary proportions. As Pattinson prepares to become Battinson, his road to donning the cowl hasn't fully been explained yet, but his general routine to get into shape has many feeling quite envious. Production has Pattinson on a dirty bulk, where he's eating a ton of heavy calorie-based foods like pizza in order to bulk up, while generally having normal workouts that focus on cardio and resistance, but all at his own pace. Hey, Batman producers, we eat pizza all the time and our cardio workouts are at our own pace, meaning we sometimes walk to the fridge to get more pizza. Does that mean that we can play the next Batman? But although it sounds like Pattinson won't be as beefy as other Batman actors, we kinda like the idea of a slimmer, leaner Batman. It could play up the world's greatest detective angle that director Matt Reeves is supposedly going for. Superman might be one of the hardest superheroes for any celebrity to play, just because they need to have an almost perfect body in order to portray the last son of Krypton. Even if you're one of those people who don't like Henry Cavill's take on the classic character, you have to admit, he looks absolutely perfect for the role with his pitch-perfect voice and absolutely ripped physique. But Cavill didn't just fall to Earth after his own planet exploded and get super strength thanks to our yellow sun. No, Cavill had to bulk up the old-fashioned way with hard work and a godlike amount of determination. Plus, all that celebrity money probably didn't hurt. To get to the point where he could play Superman, Cavill pushed himself to his limits, following a crazy intense gym regimen that focused on his foundation. Some people think that just weightlifting is enough to get you insanely ripped, but there's more to it than that. Cavill made sure to supplement his workout with a good diet, as well as things like sleep for 9 to 10 hours a day, and put an emphasis on things like cardio and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, that's right, Superman knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A really silly yet vocal minority spoke out the first time Gal Gadot was announced as Wonder Woman. They thought the actress just didn't look the part and didn't appear strong enough to accurately portray the character the way people thought she should be played. But anyone who's done their research on Gadot knows that she's basically already Wonder Woman in real life, and she's more than qualified to play a butt-kicking warrior woman because she already was one. Before she decided to pursue acting, Gadot served in the Israeli Defense Force, so she was already one tough cookie. So when she had to start getting into superhero shape, it wasn't that difficult for her. In the end, she ended up gaining 14 pounds of muscle before wielding her iconic lasso and bracelets, and all her hard work definitely paid off. But how did she do it? It actually wasn't anything insane, but took a lot of commitment. Gadot would focus on a veggie and protein diet while drinking a gallon of water every single day. There were cheat days every now and then, but those can actually be good for your body. And then she continued to bulk up by focusing a lot on push-ups and planks. Great, now we have that theme music stuck in our heads. Although often overlooked because of his weird on-screen antics, Jared Leto deserves some recognition for the lengths that he goes to transform himself for a role. Before he was the clown prince of crime, Leto had a serious tendency to dive into his roles. For his part in Requiem for a Dream, Leto lost 28 pounds and even lived on New York streets to get into the proper mindset. For his role as Mark David Chapman in Chapter 27, Leto went the opposite route and gained 60 pounds, where he even needed a wheelchair to move around. So when he was cast as the Joker in the Suicide Squad movie, everyone knew that Leto wouldn't be afraid to go to some extreme lengths for the part, and he did. Although the interpretation of the character wasn't for everyone, Leto seemingly chose to play the character as someone who could actually pose a threat to Batman when it came to fighting. His goal was to build serious muscle definition in order to make the clown even more intimidating. And if we're being honest, it totally worked. Yes, the character wasn't as good as other Jokers, but he was still a scary presence. When you think of Harley Quinn, you don't necessarily think of a jacked up woman, even though the way she wields some of her signature weapons in the comics makes her seem as strong as Superman, just saying. But the thing about Harley Quinn is that she can have a tendency to show a lot of skin. Hey, not everyone can just casually fill out the character's short shorts. So, when Margot Robbie was cast in the role, she knew she had to undergo a serious workout if she was going to play the character comfortably. Margot Robbie already was in great shape, but she pushed herself hard for 3 weeks to really play Harley Quinn accurately. The actress worked out 3 hours a day for 3 weeks straight for the part. Harley Quinn has always been a graceful character, so she focused a lot on Pilates, ballet, and other fitness modalities to capture the essence of the character. Her weight workout included heavy weights with low reps so she could become stronger, but not necessarily bulkier, and we think it paid off. Did you see her smashing heads in the movie? She was definitely someone we don't want to cross. With a long history of playing intimidating tough guys, perhaps the most intimidating character Tom Hardy has ever played was the fearsome backbreaker Bane in Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. What's even more impressive is that you couldn't even see his face or understand him all that well, but the discount Darth Vader made his presence known through his sheer physical mass. The dude looked like a literal boulder came to life and wanted to fight Batman. And if you look at Hardy's history before The Dark Knight Rises, you'll notice how much his body has morphed and changed over time. His breakout role in Bronson required him to pack on pure muscle, much like his Bane role. But then he followed up that movie with his MMA fighting film Warrior, which saw Hardy slim down to something more lean and athletic, but the character of Bane required him to bulk up yet again, and he added nearly 30 pounds of mass. Looking at the difference between Warrior and The Dark Knight Rises, yeah, we believe it. Hardy was forced to dirty bulk for the Bane role to pack on the pounds and avoided any cardio that would cause him to lose muscle mass. The results were successful, yet terrifying. Shazam is one of the most interesting DC characters because not only is he supposed to be goofy and have the heart and mind of a child because, well, he is a child, but he's also supposed to be incredibly jacked and strong. It made for some really interesting fan casting choices, but in the end, it was Zachary Levi who snagged the lead role as the titular crime fighter, and everyone's first thought was, Chuck Bartowski is now a superhero? Levi had a lot to prove after being cast as Billy Batson because even though the super suit would make him look much bigger than he was, Levi still had to bulk up considerably for the part, and looking at the results, we would call it a major success. To become the superhero, Levi didn't do anything drastic or crazy, but rather just followed a strict gym plan that included bulking, counting calories, eating clean and lean, while cutting out processed foods. He basically lived in the gym during the prep period. Sometimes we wish we could be cast as a superhero so a studio could pay us to get in shape like Levi. Out of all of these actors, we'd have to say that we're most impressed with Christian Bale for the amazing body transformation he did for Batman. What about you? What's your favorite superhero body transformation story? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to CBR for more awesome superhero content. As always, thanks for watching.